I'm TarotOracle, and this is Learning the Tarot Major Numbers in 10 Minutes. Basically, you need to know the numbers of the majors, which ones are which, like what is major number 11, which number is death. And we're using the Rider-Waite definitions. I know there's multiple definitions for these. We need Rider-Waite. That's what we're going to use. So if you argue in the chat about comments, about this is that, I remind you we're using Rider-Waite, and I will reply to your comment that we are using Rider-Waite definitions. Now, we're going to be a little silly. We're using mnemonics and fun stuff to get this done and to get it done quickly. Why do you need to know the major numbers? Well, for numerology purposes, obviously, if you have a card that just says death, you have a card that just says temperance, you definitely want to know which that is in order to use the numerology references. Many decks don't have major numbers as well. Many decks don't have major names. They'll just have numbers, like the Tarot Z, for example. Some images are so obscure and unusual that you don't really know what in the world they are. So if you need to know that up on the screen we have, for example, temperance or justice or anything like that, you need to know that. A lot of books will also refer to the major numbers without telling you what they are. Basically it's a skill that you need as a tarot reader. So let's get started. Again, this is going to be silly and weird and wild, so prepare yourself for a bit of an unusual video. All right, the magician is obviously going to be number 1, but the fool is number 0. You figured that out, though. You don't really need to memorize the fool because that's number 0. But the magician is number 1. You can see up here, he's holding the foam finger on his hand. Just imagine the foam finger on the magician. The magician is number 1. He's got the number 1 best magic tricks of anybody in the deck because he is the magician. You have to realize that, and that is going to be important. The next one, we have 2 pillars. Obviously, this is going to be the number 2. So we have 2 pillars up here. We have the B and the J, and those 2 pillars are going to tell us about the High Priestess and be our number 2 card. So we do have 2 pillars in other cards. Just remember that she has the 2 pillars with nothing, pretty much nothing else, right? There you go. The High Priestess is going to be the number 2. Now, the old rhyme of the Empress and Emperor sitting in a tree, K-I-S-S-I-N-G. It's stupid. It's very stupid rhyme, but there you go. Now you know the Empress is sitting in a tree, and tree rhymes with 3. Empress is going to be the number 3 card. So there you go. That is an easy, quick way to remember the Empress. Just remember the silly rhyme from, 3rd grade or whatever. Anyway, so that is the Empress is number 3 because she's sitting in a tree with the Emperor. So there you go. Now for the number 4, we have the Emperor. And the Emperor loves to play golf. You can see him over here with the crown. He is a proud crown-wearing golfer. And all golfers yell 4 when they smack the ball. So you'll duck and not get hit with a line drive golf ball into the face, which is never good. You never want that to happen. So you see the Emperor, just imagine him playing golf, and he loves playing golf, and he yells 4 before hitting the ball. So there you go. The Emperor is indeed the number 4. The Emperor is the number 4. And, the number 5 is a high 5. Is the High Fiverant, or the High Fiveophant. It's not the Hierophant, it's the High Fiveophant. You can see he's actually given high 5. We can see it. I'm just telling you, the leaders of the church, the big leaders of the church love high 5s. I'm just going to put that out there. High 5s are a big thing for them, so instead of the Hierophant, it's the High Fiverant. There you go. The keys to the city. He's literally waiting to give a high 5 to the 2 monks. And that's the way that the Hierophant or the High Fiverant rolls. So there you go. Again, silly, but there it is. Now you know that the Hierophant is the High Fiverant. Loves giving high 5s. Everybody in the church just loves high 5s. That's a big thing. The lovers love having sex. So their 6 is sort of similar to sex, sick sex. Now you know. Now you know that they love having sex. I mean, they're naked already. Come on. What's the next step in the evolution? We got to go with the sex. 6 equals sex. So when you see the lovers, you think of 6 sex and sex 6 times. I don't know. 6 sex. But yeah, the number 6 is indeed for the lover's card. Now the 7 is actually functions as a chair. So think of the number 7 sitting there. The 7 is chariot. Get it? Chariot. But now you know it. Now you don't have to memorize anything because it's so dumb of a rhyme. But the chariot, there you go. The number 7, it makes a great chair. I'm telling you now, look at how comfortable that chair is. It's weighted properly. You know what I mean? It's weighted so that the bottom is weighted properly with the top. And if you sit on it, it doesn't collapse. It makes a nice chair. It is a chariot. And they're literally sitting in the chariot, ready to move, ready to get towed away by the sphinxes. But it is a chariot. The number 7 equals the chariot. The number 8 is fairly easy because the lion that she's petting is about to eat her. It doesn't like to be petted. It wants a food. And she looks pretty tasty, from a lion's perspective. So remember that the lion ate the person. The lion loved to be petted for a minute, and then the lion got hungry and ate her. So the lion ate, get it? The number 8 is the lion in strength. So the strength is 8 because the lion ate her because, you need some food. I love being petted, but I need some food eventually. And she's right there, and, she looks tasty. So that's what you get. The lion ended up eating her. The lion ate. Okay. Now the hermit is actually a cat. You can see this with the fluffy beard. It's actually a cat. The hermit is a cat, and the hermit has 9 lives. So the number 9 resolves to the hermit, and that is because the hermit has 9 lives, because the hermit's actually a cat. You can see it with the beard and the fluffy hair there, If the hermit just disrobed right here, it would be just a big cat. So everybody loves cats. Most people love cats. I'm assuming that most people love cats. And cats have 9 lives, you know that. So the number 9 resolves down to the hermit. Okay, the 10. Think of the 0 and the 10 being a big wheel. And you see the wheel of fortune. So the 10, the big 0 is a wheel. And the number 1 is a stick that you use to move the wheel down the road. It's like a big stick. You picked up the number 1 as a big stick. And you whack the wheel, and the wheel moves down the road. And that is the wheel of fortune. It's the wheel moving down the road. And the big stick, the big club that you have, banging on the wheel and making it roll and roll down the road. So the 10 equals the wheel of fortune. Now 11, think of justice scales and 2 big number 1s on both sides of the scales. The number 1s are not exactly even. A single instance of the 1 is heavier than the other single instance of the other 1. So the 11 is the 1-1. Don't remember the pillars. The pillars are for, the high priestess. Just think of the scales being off balance because the number 1 doesn't equal the same weight as the other number 1. 11 equals justice. Now 12, it's 12 noon. It's time to go to lunch. Can you want to go with me? How about we go to lunch? Let's go to that sushi place down the street that just opened. I heard it was delicious. It's time for a lunch hangout because you're the hanged man. Now I want you to picture the silly image of trying to feed the hanged man some sushi with the chopsticks. And he's upside down, so you got to be careful, or you'll jam a piece of sushi in his nose or something. You know what I mean? You got to be careful. He's upside down. You have to be cautious about how you feed him the sushi. So just think of the hanged man. It is lunchtime. Lunch hangout. Hang out. Lunch. It's 12 noon. The number 12 equals the Hanged Man. Again, try to feed him sushi, trying to stuff it in his mouth and not jam it up his nose. It's hard to feed somebody upside down. I mean, I don't have any personal experience with it, but I imagine it is. But you got to get the sushi and you got to feed them because it's lunchtime, 12 noon. So the number 12 equals the Hanged Man. And the number 13 is pretty easy. I mean, again, we're using the rider. Did I mention we're using the rider weight? We're using the rider weight numbers. So, death equals 13. 13, Friday the 13th, Jason, death, Mrs. Voorhees in the first one, but the Jason in the following ones. But, Friday the 13th, 13th equals death. Jason left quite a bit of death in his wake. Mrs. Voorhees as well. But, Friday the 13th, 13 equals death. Again, rider-weight numerology. Temperance. Imagine a big 14-year-old, way too old to be throwing a temper tantrum, does it anyway. He has a temper problem. A 14-year-old, rather large to have a temper problem, but there you go. He was sort of coddled, I guess, growing up, and never really got rid of that two-year-old, 3-year-old temper tantrum thing. And now he's 14. He has a temper-ance. Temper-ance. So imagine this big, unusual 14-year-old having a temper and screaming all the time, having a tantrums. He has a temper-ance. Number 14 is temperance or temper-ance. Yeah. Number 15. Imagine Taylor Swift's 15 song. The devil. She ended up with this devilish dude, and she has to sing about it. So she has breakups with certain dudes, and she makes songs. That's how she rolls. And Taylor Swift had the 15 song, and 15 equals the bad boy, the dude, and the devil. So a little bit of that Capricorn action here with the devil. So, there you go. There's Taylor Swift is over here. Not a flattering image of Taylor Swift, I got to admit. And then here's the bad boy. That is the devil. So the devil is 15. Think of Taylor Swift's song 15. 16 is the tower. If you've ever seen 16 Candles, literally everything goes wrong in that movie. That nothing goes right until like the last 5 minutes of the movie. The rest of it goes straight downhill. It's quite a mess. Think of the movie 16 Candles, 16, the tower. Everything goes horrible in that movie. From, I don't know, she had her panties stolen. They had weird scene after weird scene in 16 Candles. Just think of that movie, and that is the tower. The whole movie crumbles. The tower literally crumbles in that movie. 16 Candles equals the tower. The tower is 16. 17, think of Chicago. I didn't have anything better, sorry. Think of Chicago 17 album, and think of Chicago skyline with that beautiful star, the stars in the Chicago skyline, the Chicago 17 album. Such a great album, too. Listen to those songs. You can hear them in your head. 17 equals star, because Chicago is a star band. They are stars. They are definitely stars. And you can see the stars in the Chicago skyline as well. So, well, not in this picture, it's cloudy, but you know what I'm saying. Use your imagination. Chicago 17 is the star. The star is number 17. Number 18, you're 18 years old. You can now join the military. And you decide on the Navy. We're 18, time to join the military. We decide on the Navy. You know what I mean? The Navy, the armed forces. And we're emerging in the submarine, and we are the crab, emerging out of the water like the Navy. The submarine's emerging, and it's all exciting, and that is the crab in the moon card. The crab is the emergence of the Navy, and the Navy is going to go down this little path, and I don't know what they're going to do. But the moon is 18, because 18 is when we can join the military, and that is going to be the moon, the crab or the lobster emerging, and from the water, the Navy. So the Navy, 18 is the moon. Again, silly. Some countries don't have 18. You're going to have to roll with me. I'm sure the comments are going to be horrible on this. I may even turn them off. You got to roll. I'm just telling you now, you got to roll with the imagination here and get it done. Get her done, as we say. COVID-19 is 19. Now, COVID, apparently, according to the studies on the screen, it inactivates or it deactivates with sunlight. Sunlight is COVID's mortal enemy. Again, please use your imagination. Thank you. So COVID-19, 19 is the sun. The sun inactivates COVID. It kills it right off, apparently. I don't know what it does, but the sun and is number 19. The sun is number 19. COVID-19, 19 sun. The sun inactivates COVID, so that's how it's related. You know what I mean? That's how it's related. Again, use your imagination here, but yeah. So the sun is number 19, COVID-19 inactive. The sun rapidly, not only inactivates it, but rapidly inactivates it, so that summer sunlight is going to be beautiful. Is going to be beautiful for this to get, to inactivate it, whatever. There you go, sun 19. Now 20. It is the year 2020, and it seems that the zombie apocalypse is indeed upon us, where the bodies are rising up and we have zombies in the street. I mean, 2020 has been pretty terrible. I wouldn't, throw it past the end of the year of 2020. We have a zombie apocalypse. You never know. I want you to imagine the show 2020. You know what I mean? That show on ABC, the 2020, where the reporters are inquiring about things and they're talking. They're interviewing the zombies. They're like, "Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Zombie, can you tell me, why you're here? What do you want? What could you possibly want in the zombie apocalypse that is upon us?" So there you go. See, they're rising from the dead. The zombies are coming back. This is Judgment, and Judgment is definitely 2020. Judgment is card 20, so there you go. Now, 21 is the drinking age, where I am. It's not the drinking age everywhere. You're going to have to roll with this. In your country, probably not the drinking age. I don't care. You got to roll with this. The drinking age is 21, where I'm at. I want you to imagine that is the final card of the world. The world is the final card. That is the drinking age. 21 is the world. Now you have the world of beers. You can have the human beer. You can have the bird beer. You know what I mean? You can have the wreath beer. I mean, there's all of these alcoholic beverages that you can now have because you're 21. So the world is open to you at the age of 21 as far as drinks go. So there you go. You have now learned this in 10 minutes, plus the commentary. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Please hit like and subscribe if you like these tutorials, and catch you on the next video.